Hello, everyone. For this oracle, I would like to focus on how we can best transition into year 2021. I'm going to continue on the pathway of opening up the portal to 2021, which is happening tomorrow, and recognizing what we can experience or allow ourselves to experience during this threshold to bring about greater victory in our personal evolution and within our collective breakthrough. So I call upon the angels, archangels, spirit guides, ancestors, beings of the highest vibration of liberation, empowerment. My intention is clear. My intention is to provide guidance that is empowering, that can help everybody step more fully into their victory, their personal victory, their breakthrough. So how can we best transform in the year 2021? Moving into 2021, how can we best transform? What do we need to focus on moving into 2021? What do we need to focus on? And I'm using my Egyptian deck. What can we focus on for 2021? Moving into 2021, what should we focus on that can bring us breakthrough and victory? What can we focus on? Can we focus on? What should we focus on to bring greater breakthrough and victory into 2021? I'm hearing the power of choice, and I'm also hearing personal power. And I've been getting personal power a lot about 2021, but now I'm getting the power of choice, recognizing that this is a collective message, but also individual, recognizing that you have the power of choice. Don't let anything take away your power of choice. I'm seeing the word control in bright red. So recognize you have the power of choice. When I see control in bright red, like almost like a blood red, like very, very bright, I'm getting that never feel like you have no options. This is a collective message about events and changes that are going to happen more in like our sort of global kind of, economic, political type of situation. Never let yourself give into an idea that you have no option, that you have no options. Desperation can breed insanity. So recognize that you have a choice. Never let yourself give into a notion that you do not have the responsibility to your own body, to your own mind, to your own reality that you create on earth. Do not give into, because with this bright red, I'm just hearing words of belittlement, ridicule, attack, and the sort of ease, the kind of peace that I feel is recognizing that we have the power of choice. Any control or pressure, it's not even control, it's pressure to be something, to do something, to accept something that we know is taking away our power of choice and is putting us into an idea that we as an individual or as a human or collective are not responsible. We are responsible. To be responsible is to use your choices and to utilize the choices you have to become wiser, not to be removed of all choices to where you have none. that is a person that feels desperate, and that is a person who can give into insanity. So recognize you have choices. Do not let yourself believe that you have none. When people believe they have no choices, there's just desperation. And how you're going to remain true to your responsibility, to your own reality, is expressing I'm hearing expressing your civil rights is something that will come up from a place of recognizing that change that we may desire within our reality and within the collective, as kind of birthing a particular timeline of, or bringing more breakthrough and excellence, is something that we're going to have to claim it, and we're going to have to make it known. We're going to have to express it in a place that comes from our gut, right? It comes from that second brain. We think of like your gut, your instinct, right? I have a gut feeling, right? Because they're showing me like a cloud around somebody's head. And I just see all of this like information. It's like a whirlwind, and it's all clashing, and it's all kind of like, just like I don't know what kind of storm it is, but it just feels like chaos. Like people's heads are going to be in these chaos, and you're going to have to trust your gut. You're going to have to trust your gut about where to go, what direction to move in within 2021. Because I just see a cloud of like a storm around people's head, which means that their thinking may not be clear. Their thinking may be chaotic or somewhat confused or scrambled or all over the place. So when that happens, you've got to go back to your body. You got to go back to your biology in your gut and listen to the gut feeling, the instinct about what is going on around you to bring clarity. Again, power of choice, personal power seems to be the words that really kind of are guiding humanity in like more of a collective towards being responsible for one's reality, being responsible for collective reality that has to do with people being able to reach some kind of mastery over their choices, mastery over their lives. And that cannot be done when people feel like they have no options. So there has to be a preservation over free will. Because people will not feel a belonging as long as there is no sense of responsibility for one's own health, for one's own mind. Because giving into an idea that I have no say over my mind, or I have no say over my body, or I have no say over, right? So this year will bring up some kind of victimization for some people, where they may feel like they have no choice over their mind, no choice over their body, but just to kind of give into an idea that they don't have the responsibility. When human doesn't feel like they have the responsibility, there's no sort of pressure for humanity to grow and to master whatever it is that needs to be learned or to be evolved. When humanity is in a victim, humanity can be in this irresponsibility, where humanity can feel, well, I don't have choices, so I don't really need to grow. I don't need to evolve. I don't really need to communicate or express myself or to develop personal power. So it's important to preserve the free will, because then that's going to give people a sense of responsibility to their mind, to their body. Okay, yes, I am here as a human being, and I have a responsibility to develop myself and to evolve myself and to have a breakthrough and to listen to my own voice of reason. so that I can navigate through the complexity seeming, right? With more of a simple mind rather than a clashing, conflicted calamity in the mind. So we'll see. The bottom of the deck, we have lunar energies, divine timing, blood mysteries. So I'm seeing I'm drawn to this water at the bottom because I've been dreaming a lot about tidal waves, and my tidal wave dreams have been getting a lot more progressive as I guess we're moving to the end of the year. The tidal waves seem to be very like I can see it and then I somewhat get out of it, where I climb into a building, I climb upstairs, or I seem to always get out of it. But then now it's like I see it and then bam, it's right there and I can't go anywhere except face it and then just die basically from the massive pressure of that ocean. So seeing that is really bringing a kind of remembrance to my dream, and lunar is about your dream state, right? So there's a lot of mysteries that will be told to us through a lucid dream or through messages in our dreams. So saying paying attention to your dreams, because there's some kind of divine intervention that will happen in 2021, or divine intervention that will happen to you as an individual through the symbolism of the dreams. Almost like they're going to be dreams sent, messages sent in these dreams, but they'll be, I'm almost hearing a cryptic, where you have to decipher it. Like it's not going to be given to you plain as day. It's something that it's going to be such a deep message that it can't come in like in a direct, like I want you to do this. It's going to come in through some sort, I'm hearing cryptic. I haven't used that word a lot. But I'm also being drawn to the fruit. Like this creature, bear, is kind of holding a basket of looks like berries or looks like grapes, and there's something very fruitful that can come in at this time, but it's going to take timing. There's something very fruitful that is wanting to come into this planet. This is again another collective but also individual that is going to kind of wash away the old. There's something about washing away old paradigm, old belief systems, old mindsets that is, I'm hearing rotten or sort of rotting, right? That is just kind of dead, like dead energy, right? In the body, in the mind, in the economy, in the political, dead energy. There's some kind of about the wave trying to wash out the dead energy, the rotten mind, the rotten belief systems that have created a lot of like rotten people, I'm hearing. Right, because I'm being brought to the Bhagavad Gita where it discusses about rotten children, that is basically the sort of offspring of parents, or even sort of generations of people who have gotten so deep into their negative mind, where they've created so much sabotage, so much emotional blockages, so much foul like ideas about themselves, and like real ugly ideas like I'm not worth anything and that kind of thing, got real ugly about it. So something about clearing out the dead energy, clearing out this rotten energy on the planet, the dead belief systems. But it's like I'm hearing washing it away so that there can be a new phase. I'm hearing the next phase of human evolution, which involves planting these new seeds, but you have to clean out there's something about the soil. If the soil is rotten, you have to purify, you have to clean it out. So something about cleaning out the rotten soil, like the dead energy in the soil, and to plant these seeds. It's like new seeds for 2020. And this, I feel like this has to do with new leaders, that have to do with the new paradigm, and these old leaders that may be kind of rotten. I'm hearing privilege rotten, so that could be about like white supremacy, that could be about something about privilege rotten. I'm hearing that. I've never used that word before. Privilege rotten. clearing that. It could be even like I'm hearing blood mysteries, so it's like bloodlines in a way that purifying, cleansing, like bloodlines that are privileged, rotten, like old rulers that, because I'm seeing a crown on this sort of bear slash otter's head. So it's showing me about like some old rulership, right? And this person has their arm, or this creature has the arm as sort of a victory, right? Which is like this, right? We think of the Hitler like this. This is actually a sort of angle in the Kundalini technology that is a victory. You see even Yogi Bhajan doing this, and Hitler. You know, it can go on either side. It can be for a negative victory of some kind of, you know, ugly type of agenda, right? Or can be used for something that is going to bring immense excellence for, you know, human equality. So they're showing me something about recrowning people. I'm hearing recrowning. It's almost like I'm hearing taking away crowns from certain people or certain lineages or bloodlines that um, that are no longer in service to the collective, or the collective is choosing a new it's almost like the collective decides the bloodlines or decides the lineages that will be leaders. And because we're going out of a patriarchal time, there's the collective is deciding new leaders, and these new leaders will be crowned. This message seems kind of interesting. And these new leaders will be crowned in all across this planet, not just in one geographic region. But they're saying there's old rulers that don't want to lead, they don't want to lose their crown. They don't want to lose their, like, whatever they've built up. It is very, maybe they built out a certain power, right, where they've have, you know, the berries, the grapes can be also symbolic for have a certain kind of prosperity, right, you know, generational wealth. Like grapes is usually, you know, generations of that, for it to be really, you know, very fruitful tasting wise. um but there's something about new grape trees being planted, and this is all symbolic, right? So new grape trees being planted is about new generational wealth on this planet from new bloodlines or new lineages that they couldn't have a stand in the patriarchal age or the dark age or medieval age or whatever age that they're showing me, because there was so much control. Like I'm just seeing like certain bloodlines or lineages trying to take out any of these. It's almost like trying to poison the soil so that people cannot, or these seeds cannot grow, so that only their grape trees are growing, so that the generational wealth is in us. I'm hearing a monopoly, so that it's all in their monopolized kind of rate. So it's something about like I'm almost seeing something like spraying the forest with like pesticide and trying to poison like from it growing, so that their side of the land can be very fruitful and monopolized, and the others is kind of poisoned so it doesn't grow. So I think that's something that's been going on in the past. But something about blood mysteries in the way of healing. I see this water as like healing and purifying. I'm just seeing something about privilege rotten. Like there's certain bloodlines on this planet. It could be white supremacy. It could be like something about the patriarchal dark age, that it could be ritualistic, paganistic, something about this within the throne, within crown of people, like those again, like when I think of the throne, I think of those again who had this certain privilege of generational wealth. But there's something maybe rotten, maybe there's some dead energy, maybe there's belief systems that's not serving humanity and it needs to be removed. So it's like a big tidal wave coming in and just like flushing it out and saying, okay, it's time for a new leader, you know, you're out. And there's a resistance because, you know, there's this, you know, type of monopoly. I keep hearing the word, I don't use that word a lot. Kind of monopoly that's happened on this planet where there's a certain, type of person who's been able to uphold wealth, but now that person will not be able to. There's new leaders that will be able to uphold wealth, and it's not just one, two, lineages or bloodlines. It's actually multiple that I'm hearing were original to this earth. So when I think of original, I'm thinking of like before the pharaohs, like probably before 7,000 years in our past, like 12,000 years in our past. So very interesting that there's a message about the sort of purifying of bloodlines that are releasing. It's almost like I'm hearing like releasing bloodlines of patriarchal descent that are no longer suited for their leadership. That it's almost like Mother Gaia, or there's a higher group council, like a galactic confederation, that are deciding new leaders that are part of the Aquarian age, or a part of this new paradigm, because this new paradigm must come in. It has to come in. It's a part of evolution. But these old rulers, they don't want it to come in, because that means they're going to be out. They're not. This is a complete new paradigm. This is nothing to do with patriarchal dark age or medieval times or whatever. I'm hearing like blood oaths, blood agreements made in this medieval time for some of these bloodlines that have to do with like making kind of oaths, but these oaths have to do with like a real like patriarchal type of like, I don't know, paradigm that is very like a low vibration, like it's a lower incarnational reality that they made oath to. But that's not going to work, because this new paradigm is already coming in, and it must come in for humanity to excel, because humanity will not excel in this old, I just keep seeing this patriarchal, I'm seeing like a Vatican type of like, the KKK type of, what is that? I don't even know what it's called, the head thing. I'm seeing like a Vatican red head thing, like a cone, but it's also like it's like the KKK thing, and I'm seeing that, and I'm seeing it like in some kind of weird ceremonious type of gathering, and I'm seeing like it's ritualistic, like like when we think of like the Mayans type of blood sacrifice, but it's like oath or made ties or some kind of weird like karma entrapment that is rotten, that is needing to be purified, because there's a lot of that. Like I'm hearing like it's rotten, it's dead energy, it's not going to serve the planet in the new paradigm. It has something to do with making oaths to a sort of authoritative paradigm that brings about separation, and sort of that's not going to work. Something about making oaths to continue separation on this planet, like it's very rotten, like superiority type of rotten. And there's a lot of that they're showing me, like not just like white men, or it's not just the white supremacy thing, it's also other places as well. And it's a huge like dysfunctionality within the patriarchal rise. It's a huge dysfunctionality. It has to do with privilege, superiority, with being like I'm hearing the 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 bloodline, like the something about being the god bloodlines, or being the cherished bloodlines, some weird stuff like that, that's real like separation stuff, where you're separating yourself from humanity and putting yourself like on a pedestal, that's very like dead energy. It's rotten, right? It's like some kind of karmic debt or karmic ties or weird oaths that actually are entrapping. So and that's why it's rotten, because you're entrapped in some kind of thing that you've made whatever sort of attachment to, but it doesn't give you liberation, right? So purifying the lands through this like energy of this kind of like a flood type of vibe, great flood, so that these new lineages or this new leadership can come on the planet that's ready to seed these new ideas about human sovereignty or human union, getting out of patriarchal separation that's very built off of something rotten, about ideas about, it's like poisonous, right? I'm hearing that, very poisonous. So we have, what can we focus on for moving into 2021? This is a card I actually got in my head, very interesting. It's alchemy. And this is very interesting. It's about moving to 2021. What we need to focus on is alchemy. So, alchemy is a very powerful word. It's one of the most powerful words I use in my sort of vocabulary bank to really describe like transmutation, right? There's a lot of messages coming in from the more galactic confederation, or type of Pleiadian transmission, about transmuting negative timelines through your personal power and through your power of choice and your free will. That if in your gut you don't feel that it's going to serve you or this collective in a way that's going to bring more creative reality, if you feel anything is going to make you gray, which is like numb, it's gonna calcify your pineal gland, or it's gonna somewhat disturb you, your physiological sort of damage or mutation or disruption, you know um this is the alchemy. Is about, we have the human body is very powerful and can alchemize and transmute the worst of trauma or the poisons in the mind. So I'm also seeing the white swan. So it's like the white swan is such a symbol of, the innocence and preserving the innocence, the inner child, understanding your inner child, working with your inner child. Because in the center we see this like white light, like the Holy Spirit, right? And the Holy Spirit is really like that perfect image of like alchemical force to be reckoned with. So there's like a closeness with the Holy Spirit that wants to be had. And then when I see this kind of Nile, right, when you think of the Nile, in association with Egypt, right, I just see something about remembering what the ancestors have done. Something about the ancestors went through change or events that maybe we will go through, and they were able to transmute timelines that may have to do with taking away human life, human dignity, or taking away the humanness. Maybe like when we think of taking away the humanness, we're thinking about becoming more disconnected from our intuition, becoming more reptilian brain based, right, which is very fight or flight, very survival, and in the ego, right, very ego type of way, where you're sort of disconnected in from your intuition, and you're disembodied, you're not, your soul is not even in your life energy, right? So something about alchemy is a way of like creative reality, right? Getting that in your life, because part of this rotten stuff is about people who are disembodied, and maybe they were, disembodied in the womb because their parents were disembodied, where they disconnected from their intuition, their soul energy, creative reality, and they started to like get into this poisonous mindset about their being stagnant, like emotionally, psychologically, because they were so in this trap with fear, is what they're showing me. Whew, it's getting deep. And then we have divine messenger. So there's a lot of like divine messages that want to come through, right? And this is the card of the Sphinx, right? Number 5, which 2021 is a 5-year, but the Sphinx is such a powerful symbol, not only of like I claim my reality, I am that I am, such a stance of personal power and excellence, because originally I feel the Sphinx was a symbol of sovereignty, like when we think of Lady Liberty in the U.S., right? It's a symbol, like when you go across, the Atlantic to New York, it's a symbol of, right? It's a symbol of, I have taken my dignity, right? And I am sovereign. So it's a real symbol. So the Sphinx is very much a similar symbol in the ancient times of, I feel, during a very oppressive time, or maybe, during a time of chaos or crises. It was a symbol of hold your sovereignty, like the Lady Liberator, hold your sovereignty, hold your dignity. Don't just be chaos. This is not a planet just chaos. There is a crisis, so hold. It's like hold your might, right? Because it has a very to be respected and to be revered type of energy. So, cosmic library, earth altar. So the earth altar is like the sacred lands of like the portals, the grid of earth that has to do with higher vibrational vortexes that were created by not just humans, ancient humans, but also like Pleiadians or Arcturians, Anunnaki, say Anunnaki, but I meant the Anunnaki. Even I guess Adonakton was a part of this sort of sacred vortex making. It's almost like making vortexes of high vibrational sound current to raise the incarnation of humans. So I'm getting a strong Anunnaki influence with the 2021 type of events and changes. The Anunnaki will give divine messages about personal freedom to help humanity to like reclaim its dignity. Something about, I keep seeing the Lady Liberty, and we know the Lady Liberty is it's a pretty strong symbol for the US of like not only of like have dignity within yourself, right, and believe in yourself. Do not let whatever try to scramble you and take away your sense of livelihood. But it's also about moving beyond poisonous belief systems that have man and woman or man and man like in this constant fight against each other. It's like the end of the fight, right? It's like I hold the torch. And it's like when you think of like hand the torch, is like I hand this wisdom of human dignity to my children, right? Or to to a younger generation. So I feel like the cosmic library has to do with whatever events we're going through is a part of our karmic resolution. So if we're going through, I mean, if you may live in a completely different like region on earth, but it's a cosmic resolution. We need to see it as that. It can seem like karmic debt, because we've been around the block on earth for so many thousands upon maybe millions of years, and we have gathered karma, right? Karma is like habits. It's like familiar patterns that we repeat out of impulse or out of unconscious, just, unawareness, where we're just kind of going in that direction just because we created a momentum. And we just kind of go on that momentum because, been there, done that, or do it again. But, the cosmic library is saying about there's a karmic resolution that's happening. But in order for us to really break through the karma habit, that could be war, the karma habit, a pattern which could be fighting or chaos or people losing their minds, that could be a karmic relay, is that we have to bring an alertness. Like when you look at the Sphinx, it's like the Sphinx looks alert. It's like the Sphinx is like, sort of viewing the territory, like looking out at the horizon, looking out at the stars. I think the Sphinx is aligned with Leo in its most I think that, I don't know, Sphinx about Leo constellation, something about Leo in the Sirius star, something about there's alignment where the Sphinx is most like exalted during this Leo constellation and this Sirius star. But also there's a sort of exaltation that happens when it's in kind of I'm hearing a Arcturus and Pleiades type of Andromedan something kind of orbit or orientation that happens. So the Sphinx is saying about open your eyes. Like the Sphinx is looking at the horizon, right? in ancient Egyptian times. And it's like looking at the constellations, looking at the, the revolving sky. And it's like, have your eyes open, be alert, pay attention to the cosmic movement, pay attention to the movement that's happening in your outer, in your whatever it is. Pay attention. It's like I'm hearing some things may be hidden in plain sight. Pay attention, be alert. It's something about how we can best move into this new year. And this is also about the earth altar is something about we're here to create earth altar. So that could be about creating a vortex, amplifying the vortexes already, going to vortexes, sacred sites, and getting the downloads. There's something about getting the downloads from the ancient earth, from the Akashic record of earth, getting the downloads to start to build the new paradigm, to create a bridge. Because there's something about the past, there's something rotten about this patriarchal dark age, like in the minds, like in belief system. It's like there's something rotten about, like, something about ridiculing, belittling, attacking, shaming, judging, like real ugly stuff. And I'm hearing that that's being washed away just by the Mother Gaia. It can no longer tolerate any low vibrations that is heavily trying to like block whatever this new paradigm it needs to come in. It will come in. It is coming in. So the divine messenger is about, you need to see yourself as like an earth altar, that you hold a space of this Akashic record, or get in touch with the Akashic record of this earth, and start to organize your space, or organize your mind, or organize your life in a way where you feel like you are tapping into a higher vibrational vortex. Or go to these places, go to these, create this even with your kids or your spouse. But the Sphinx is such a powerful symbol of being alert. It's almost like I am that I am. I see clearly. I am in the know. So something about being in the know and how you will is again through that gut. Because the Sphinx represents, again, a huge like arc line of like, I hold wisdom, but it also has a real type of groundedness. Like it's like an animal, right? It has like a lion's body. So it's really like I am in that courage. So we think of Lady Liberty as in like the woman of sovereignty, dignity, and we think of the Sphinx as the symbol of have courage. When I just keep feeling the Sphinx had to do something about oppression, right? Something about oppressive, like it could be it's something about kings, like early pharaohs, Leo type of era or age, Leo era age. 30,000 years ago or something about have courage. And I really feel the Sphinx head was a woman, a black woman, a goddess in the matriarchal time, 30,000 years ago. And something about during a time of oppression, maybe there was chaos, something about have courage. So whatever was going on, there was something about have courage. And also the Sphinx was looking at the planet Mars. The Sphinx had some kind of looking at planet Mars, because I keep seeing the Mars star, like I'm the Sphinx looking out. Or something about, it had some kind of symbol of have courage, something about Mars. And something about oppression or something about chaos. And it's like, have courage, right? Don't be chaotic. Have courage. So something about character, have courage. Okay, and also there's a symbol of the Sphinx about, the ancient past, but also can be helpful now, is about something about do not be arrogant. Do not be selfish. Be in your humility, but also be very strikingly assertive. Okay, so that's some kind of message. So divine messenger, we are the messenger. And then tree of life. Wow. Very wow. Where there is death, there is new life. This is a very powerful message. Where there's death, there is new life. We see the soul star at the top. It's getting dark. It's hard to see. The soul star is at the top of the tree, and it's pure white. It's saying we are being guided by source energy. Planet Earth is. Again, there's something about bearing fruit. We will bear fruit, but we have to decompose, right? There's like a corpse in the middle of the tree, right? You know, we have to decompose what is dead. We have to let what is dead decompose, right? And we have to, it's like it becomes nutrients or inspiration or like a guide to the new life that wants to come in. And also just, this is very much about our ancestors are guiding us, right? And this is ancient ancestors that are guiding us. It's something about getting in touch with the ancient earth, the ancient altar, right? It's almost like the grid of the original earth. Something about the earth in the patriarchal dark age is not original. So it's like getting in touch. There's something about getting in touch with the original earth. What we think and what we feel about earth is not original. There's something about, I'm hearing manufactured. Something about it has been manufactured. Something about it has been manufactured. So I'm hearing like a manufactured like belief system that was created during a patriarchal, I don't know, dark age or bronze age or some kind of, you know, I keep hearing monopolizing resources to one's own bloodline and keeping the teachings in the hands of certain groups as a way to start a kind of catalyst or catapulting particular people into their power. There's something about obsession with power in the ancient. It's almost like they're showing me Egypt had such a power. Those were jealous, those were obsessed with having that power. So they took it upon themselves to take the knowledge of how to grab that power and then sort of at the same time destroy those who had the original power. Okay, so I'm just interested to read a little bit about this. So it's about renewal and rebirth. So it's something about, again, with this death energy, the death meditation, we can have renewal and rebirth because I'm hearing fatigue, immense fatigue, emotional stagnation, rotten, I don't know, children, rotten bloodlines, rotten privilege. And there's something about there needs to be a death so the renewal and rebirth can come, right? So you can even accumulate like dead cells in the body, right? And it makes our brain sluggish. It even depletes the gray matter in the brain, which is a part of our radiance, is a part of our vitality and our mental like genius, right? What are you dying to discover or renew? So humanity will have like a desire to discover something about the new paradigm. It will have a desire to discover the new paradigm. It wants to renew itself. It doesn't want more fatigue and more desperation and more like depletion to the gray matter in the brain. There's actually a desire for renewal, for rebirth, for reinvention, even reform or even revolution. But I think because we have the card of courage in many ways, I think that a part of our karma of our past is that we because we have such a masculine energy, we are so eager to be in a fight, to be in another war because of that masculine karma, where masculines have gotten into wars over just over their pride, right? So that's a karma that we could repeat if we don't call in a alchemical path. if we don't call it an alchemical path, the karma of our masculine pastime, that we've repeated again and again, we could, get into these type of wars or fights or over this sort of repeating of a habit of a past, past on earth. So there's something how we're going to break the cycle, break whatever generational curse has to do with a masculine type of patriarchal pride or arrogance or kind of obsession with control or obsession with authority or obsession with being right. Right? The whole Crusades is an obsession over being right. I am right. I am the righteous one. I am the holy beside the original holy. Right? And then, let's see. So it says, when you pull this card, it's time to stop and consider the concept of surrender. It says, through your ability to find stillness in a meditative state, you will be able to recognize how in your everyday journey you are engaged in this shamanistic rite of passage of surrender, death, renewal, and regeneration. So like I said, the surrender into this new paradigm is coming in. And that's why this great, flood or tidal wave energy is coming in, because we are being asked to completely relax into this new paradigm, this new 5D shift. And even with this 5D shift comes, like, people think of like 5G towers, or comes new technology, or AI or AGI, or these new type of nano device in the genetics, or whatever this new technology is. It's a part of this new age. But to relax into it is to allow to give death to any oppression, I'm hearing, that you have, where you cannot express your choice, your free will, your responsibility. And renewing is like renewing your spirit, renewing like that soul energy in you, so that you can kind of bring when I think of regeneration, I'm thinking of like bringing an reinvention of your belief system. If you feel like your belief systems are haggard, stagnant, stale, you feel just it's bothering you, it's not fulfilling you, you're not getting what you want, whatever it is, it's not giving you radiance. You're not getting authenticity from life through these belief systems. You're feeling you need to do things deceptively. You need to get into weird situations that is not based off of authenticity. It is to the regeneration is like regenerating our authenticity, because we can manifest through our alchemical authenticity, right? So very powerful. The tree of life is really about, it's about the life and death. It's the portal, the threshold between life and death, but also it's like the portal between a death to an age, right? Or like a transition, and then the rise of something new, right? The tree is like something new. But it's also like connecting to the ancient past, the Satric record, connecting more to the earth, having more of a connection, a union with the earth, being more listening, paying more attention. There's going to be a lot about needing to be grounded, right? Needing to be steady, needing to be patient, practicing the tree, right? Which is getting more relaxed. And the best way to relax is to get grounded, right? Put your, feet on the sand, your hands on a tree. So death, renewal, and regeneration. Now I'm just going to pull, and all of this is happening is a way of we want to transmute. There's a great desire in humanity to want to break through generational curses of repeating the same habits, the same masculine defaults of this patriarchal age. So there's a desire in humanity to want to renew the life force, the soul energy, because whatever is going on, this whatever dead energy or dead belief system is making maybe humans feel haggard, feel stuck, stagnant, feel just incomplete, feel really tired, right? And it's because there wants to be an upgrade to the human system, right? And it's not the technology that's going to upgrade, it's the alchemy of the soul energy that's going to upgrade. Technology will just make people feel fatigued and drained. Because if humans don't have an upgrade to the mainframe of their own brain, their mind, relating to technology is just going to continue to be obsessive. It's just going to continue to be draining. It's going to continue to be confusing and creating all this extra calamity and commotion and noise. But when the human starts to upgrade the mainframe and upgrade the mind, taking in information from the technology is going to be more of, it's going to process it quicker, and it's going to process it in a way where it's going to, it's not going to be overpowered. It's not going to be an obsession, addiction. It's not going to be like I'm intimidated, I'm overpowered, it's consuming me. It's going to be more of I'm using it as a tool. I'm using it with a complete empowerment over my own mind to use it to my advantage, not just random, boredom or whatever. I'm consumed. What is the final message for this? How we can better move into 2021 with what, how can we best step into 2021? Hearing let go of the past. Letting go of past lives for us as humans. And how we let go of past lives is we bring a recognition to habits, familiarity, comfort zones, and then we revolutionize it and we say, I'm going to connect to my North Node. And I'm going to start to allow myself the maybe self-psychology or just the heart awakening to give attention to my North Node. And if you really go deep with your North Node, you will be able to break through your past lives. This is a time, this is the threshold of at least 12,000 years. We've been waiting for this threshold where we can really kind of reset our entire past life cycles that we've had maybe for many past lives. We're resetting the entire past life cycle, and this new cycle, incarnation-wise, is going to be one that will be out of a patriarchal age, and it will be in a patriarchal, matriarchal type of reconfiguration. So what that means is those who will have lifetimes moving forward after these generations will not be in a patriarchal cycle of karma. It will be a new karma cycle, habit, familiarity, comfort zone that will be more expansive, because it will have not only a patriarchal mind, it will have a matriarchal as well. So it will be a lot more expansive. The belief system will be a lot more expansive than just the mundane mediocrity type of status quo within a great separation or segregation or discrimination or that type of thing, right? It's going to be very different. It is through the threshold that is our body. Anybody who's born and alive, our body is the threshold in which this new template or this new paradigm can come in, and not just come in and just be aloof, but come in and actually start to upgrade and renew the past. So the past seems haggard, right? It seems real haggard and depleting, and people are drained, and people are like, it's disconnecting them from their soul, because that type of, cycles of the past needs to be purified, it needs to be cleared. That's why it's dead, because it's played its course, and now it's time to give life to something original within us, right? So anybody who's really going into something original is going to find a lot of energy and a lot of ecstaticism That's a word, right? Entering the mystery. It's like a final message. Entering the mystery is like entering into the unknown. Enter through the portal of the Aquarian age and discover for yourself what does it mean to have a mind. Don't let technology, AI, or anything tell you that your mind is something about taking back your mind. Something taking back your mind. If you've given your mind away to a belief system, you are gonna feel like your mind is dead. Right? A lot of people feel like their mind is dead. There's something about take back your mind, become a visualizer, become a visionary, become brilliant, feel your mind, get in touch with your mind, work and massage. There's something about massage your mind through prayer, through mantra, through meditation, through articulation, through reading, through writing, through anything that just exercise the many different aspects of the mind, because the mind in the patriarchal dark age went completely dark. We were not using our mind except the reptilian part. Saying massage, exercise your mind, not just through computer, but exercise your mind through creative reality, where you are creating something through your own mind. Your vision, your visualization, your affirmation, your ability to meditate or connect, everything about the future is going to be about like astral travel, lucid dreaming, remote viewing, psychic abilities, transcendental meditation, somewhat of a shamanistic mind understanding. It's going to be all about exercising the mind. The future of this earth and the dying desire of humanity is to exercise the mind, because we've been so much in that reptilian brain for so long, in fight or flight type of dilemmas and dramas and endless karma repeating relays. We want the color of our mind back, right? You can't see, but this card is so colorful. We want our mind to be colorful again, dynamic, well-rounded, not flat, not stagnant, not depleted, not just reptilian type of rule. Right, reptilian brain. We don't just want that. We want to learn about the mind and the different facets, the many chambers, the many energies, the many colors and movements and range and spectrum of the mind. And that's going to fulfill you. That's going to give you contentment. That's also going to help you to start to break away of any belief systems that's keeping you fatigued, keeping you hostile, desperate, keeping you interlocked with some kind of habit or familiarity, comfort zone that's not giving you personal power, personal choice, and it's definitely not helping you to connect with your soul energy. Right? The alchemy is your ability to have more of a relationship with your mind, and that is the kind of maturity that will kind of give you opportunity to uncover the mysteries of prosperity and wealth. You don't need to be desperate for wealth. You don't need to kill and be deceitful as the kings, right? For wealth, you can get it. There's a new method or a new way of manifesting that's coming to this planet. Wealth, prosperity, lineage, bloodlines, something about new spiritualities, ideologies, belief system, way of looking at how you can give birth to something original that comes from a place of your own depth of experience with your craftsmanship or with your creativity. So last card. These cards are supercharged. And then we have Shadow, Adversarial, Ally, Trickster. So this is about this is about the charlatans, right? As a final message, right? The charlatans, right? The false information, the false prophets. The more alert you are, the more you can sense that out, right? You can sense that, these things do not really have creative reality, really have creative destiny. If it's looking drained, if it's looking fatigued, then most likely the energy is. So when you're trying to just, think about, what has energy and what doesn't, when you're alert and you're sensitized, you will know that this has energy and this does not. Go for what has energy, because some of these things disguise itself with having a lot of energy, right? But when you go into it, you start to feel like you're not connecting to your authenticity, right? Your authenticity is your alchemy, that you can transmute anything, right? Alone, through your independence and interdependence, right? That's the alchemy, is when the authenticity of you. You can transmute anything, anything. And the charlatans create codependency, dependency, where they monopolize, they the false information to scramble so that you're confused and that you're wanting more, but you never get more because it's never enough. There's a lack, there's a somewhat of deception in the way that you feel that you're going somewhere, but without the emotional maturity, it's like you're not really going anywhere, right? So the shadow, we all have the shadow. We all have a collective shadow. We all have the angel and the demon inside of us. We're working on, how to balance that out. And I think the higher we go, the deeper we drop, right? The same thing. The deeper we fall, the higher we can climb. But we want to zero out. So this is really about the shadow is your 0 point. It's the neutral point where the mystery of the positive and the mystery of the negative are in this 0 point where it becomes like a shadow. When we think of there's light so you can see, but then it's not completely dark, so where you can't see. So it's like a veil. If you want to look through it, you can see into the positive. If you want to look the other way, you can see into the negative. So the shadow is like looking in through the veil, is like looking at creative reality and understanding also its polarity, and understanding the polarity that is distorted from disruption, what I call, right? We think the matrix is just disruption, interference, and to not be scared of it. Like a shadow is not to be scared of. Like you think of facing a shadow as in alchemy. Like a child, you teach a child, like when they feel like there's a shadow under their bed, they get up and they look under the bed, and then they say a prayer, or they have a mantra, and it's a way of like using alchemy to transmute anything, right? Like I can transmute anything into love. And that's a real kind of ability to see through the veil. When you can see through the veil and see the polarity, and even see into the traumas, you see into it from a 0 point, from a neutral point, where you don't need to get attached to it. You don't need to be caught up in, interlocked, and getting some, you're playing it out again and again and trapped with it. You can transmute it. Right? And the Holy Spirit is also, would say it's a shadow. The Holy Spirit is the source, a pure source. We can call it the inner child, where we are completely in our soul energy. And when we're completely in our soul energy, we have really no shadow. But when we're on earth, since we have certain polarities, we do have, right? And it's, I wouldn't say a shadow as in like it's a, people think it's like a part of them that's evil or something. It's it's really a veil where you get to see into the many realms of earth, right? The devilish realms and the heavenly realms. But when you transmute the shadow, you start to enter to the inner child, that Holy Spirit type of soul energy, where you're no longer in the shadow, in the veil of the wheel of the polarity. You've kind of transcended the polarity, and you're in this content, this 0 point where you have transmuted all of these karmas, and you've brought yourself back to this like perfect alertness of who you are, what is important, and the authenticity, the autonomy that is manifesting a creative reality or creative destiny through your intention to bring your soul energy into the fullness of your embodiment on earth. So I'll leave you guys with these messages, and thank you for joining me on this 2021 sort of transmission from I would call the Egyptian goddesses, right? The Egyptian goddesses, a transmission on the kind of space that we can hold for the 2021.